Subscribe.
Over the years, after attending creative arts group therapy sessions, quite a few student interns have asked me how I am able to get jaded and/or angry adolescent patients to feel comfortable enough to unwind, even laugh, in the session when the session was solely engaged in traditional or straight verbal therapy without the support of visual arts, music, drama, writing, or dance movement interventions. Now, from the outside, it might look to the students like I am not using an art form, but actually, I am incorporating my own improvised hybrid form of surreal comedy, where, after explaining my approach further to the interns, some are pleasantly surprised to find out that my own approach to, if you will, clinical comicality is centered not only around the fictional talk show host Jiminy Glick, but also a host of other comedic artists.
That's a wonderful little story you told.
Hello, this is Enrico, licensed creative arts therapist, New York State. It's funny. Well, not so funny. For all of the pioneering accomplishments in creative arts therapy practice, found in music, drama, art, dance movement, and poetry methodologies, comedy, or the comedic arts, seems to be an unexplored area in psychotherapy. Yes, I could be wrong, and I have seen some really interesting writings on therapeutic humor and the use of stand-up comedy in drama therapy interventions. Now, in my case, I am not speaking about a Patch Adams approach to clinical comicality, where an overly enthusiastic creative arts therapist arrives to group therapy wearing a clown nose, expecting tween and teen psychiatric patients to laugh about their emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. I am speaking about using comedy in unexpected moments to catch patients off guard.
It was.
For me, I never went to formal acting school.
No.
And to catapult them into unanticipated departures, where comedy is used to help build a therapeutic relationship between myself and the adolescent patients. The comedic approach that I am speaking about in this video centers on the fictional talk show host Jiminy Glick and his non-ordinary improvisational comedic style when interviewing a guest.
So exciting for me to be talking to you, because usually I talk to celebrities. So this is a nice change of pace. It really is. O'Shea Jackson.
O'Shea is the name my mama gave.
God, there's that wonderful Robbie Burns once said, the poet. Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
When first we practiced to deceive.
Who?
Jack Nicholson.
Right.
What's he like?
Great actor.
Cuckoo, cuckoo.
No.
Cuckoo.
No. That was a character he played in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I know, but I believed him really to be mad.
You think he is mad?
I think he's strange.
No, he's actually...
You can't handle the truth. Why would he scream that at Tom Cruise, as if Tom Cruise had lied?
Well, that was part of his character. That was in the script.
When does the film come out?
July 11th.
Oh, I'm gonna be away. Can you get me a tape?
Here, informed by Glick, I use, if you will, a subtle form of his comedic interjections and responses. These are playful and loving in nature and are used to surprise, wake up, or throw the patients off balance. For example, if the patient is displaying a more circumstantial thought process where their thoughts are connected but go off topic before returning to the original subject, I may use this Glickian style of comedy.
Well, I was 24 years old when I was on the show.
Yeah.
And
Speed it up, we've got...
Yeah, and it was...
I mean, we don't have to know. I had 3 suits to my name.
Yeah.
And that day I'd had an omelet. You know, all that stuff we don't need.
Here, through the humor and laughter, the patient is able to remain focused and on task, strengthening bonds between fellow group members and myself. Another example is if the group is reporting that they are bored, some will insist on interrupting the therapeutic process by continually asking me personal questions. Here, to disrupt their inquiries, I may answer their questions in this Glickian style.
Did you see the movie The Agony and the Ecstasy about Michelangelo?
I saw Madame X with Lana Turner, and in the background there was a wonderful abstract painting that everyone pretended to care about. And I think that was a de Kooning.
Here, this bizarre and surreal comedic style of answering catches the patients off guard, and again, through the laughter, they begin to trust me and the therapeutic process, and will at least try and stay on task, creating a strong group cohesiveness. It is important to note that I use this comedic style solely in small or large group settings with tween and teen psychiatric patients that are unenthusiastic, hesitant, and/or unwilling to participate in the group therapy session, where the focus is centered on a verbally mediated psychotherapy intervention. Moreover, since this comedic arts-based approach is used to catch the patients off guard or wake them up, I do not need to use this approach in individual creative arts psychotherapy sessions, due to the patient agreeing beforehand to participate fully in the session, which are centered on the patient's identified therapeutic goals. With Jiminy Glick as the catalyst, if the tween and teen patients become playful in the verbal group therapy session, I will invite the patients to participate in improvisational drama-based explorations, typically with a surreal or absurdist comedic bent. Here, the patients enjoy the unstructured direction, where I am informed by comedic figures such as Floyd Vivino and the Uncle Floyd Show.
You have money? I mean, here's an example of what I'm talking about. Look at this. She took out a $34,000 fire insurance policy.
Well, what's wrong with that, Skip?
On the swimming pool? I mean, there's just...
The Marx Brothers.
We then come to the bloodstream. The blood rushes from the head down to the feet, gets a look at those feet, and rushes back to the head again. This is known as auction pinochle. Scientists make these deductions by examining a rat or your landlord who won't cut the rent. And what do they find? Asparagus.
And Martin Lawrence.
I think the case should be thrown out due to the fact that I'm insane. My mommy say that I doubt that. We'll be coming around the mountain when we go. We'll be coming around the mountain when we go. We'll be coming around the mountain. We'll be good around the mountain. We'll be good around the mountain.
As the comedic, absurd drama unfolds, I, as well as the tween and teen patients, are better able to interpret interpersonal interactions that occur within the comedy, as well as the group process as a whole. Due to the patient-therapist bond that is created in the comedy-centered verbal psychotherapy sessions, comedic phrases, sayings, gestures, nicknames, and/or expressions arise naturally in the sessions between myself and the patients, creating, if you will, our own contact comedy. This is similar to what we find in creative arts therapy literature concerning patient-therapist bonds built in the session via contact music, contact movements, or contact art in other creative arts modalities. Our contact comedy, or as the patients report, inside jokes, is unique for each group of patients and can spill over in our other group creative arts therapy sessions. Lastly, with Jiminy Glick in mind, I can't emphasize enough how these inside jokes emerge within, as a patient reported, our own private crazy world together, where the art of clinical comicality is the main catalyst for change in these verbally mediated group therapy sessions. Again, this is our world where only the patients and myself understand what is going on moment to moment. Now, what has inspired, informed, and helped me to be able to function in this patient-therapist world, or really how to function in the patient's unique dysfunctional world, are two radio, TV talk show hosts that have two completely different comedic styles, but have a similar way of bringing together in the same room a unique assortment of personalities and characters. As I speculate, these guests would not be in the same room together in any other circumstance. Joe Franklin.
The man we mentioned yesterday, the bread man, George Burnett. He is the most well-bred man in all of television.
I've been involved with Cyndi Lauper. I knew Bruce Springsteen. So one of the finest ragtime musicians in the history of music.
What do you want
He's a legend in his own time.
What do you want to ask or say of the convention expert?
Here, it is Franklin's light humor and comedy and heartfelt conversations, as well as his never-ending enthusiasm and genuine curiosity about his guests, that has taught me to embrace the wonderful mix of patients in my group psychotherapy sessions. Howard Stern.
But there's no chance of you getting back together.
It really stinks. Young, no chance of you guys getting back. Come on.
You know, guys.
Come on. Stop it. Come on, make friends. Come on.
I always think that at a time like that, if we would just hold hands for just a minute and sing We Are the World?
That's
Come on,
right.
everybody.
Go ahead.
Yes,
Anybody
go
got a
ahead.
cake or a pizza? I feel like eating after this.
Although practicing more provocative forms of comedy and humor, where confrontations might take place, like Franklin, Stern embraces all types of guest personalities, where there is a unique flow to Stern's interviewing style, making his guests feel welcome and appreciated. Again, this form of open arms to all types of ordinary and non-ordinary guests informs my therapy practice and is analogous to visual artist Andy Warhol and musician-composer Frank Zappa, where they would surround themselves and embrace an unusual assortment of personalities. And, as always, within this therapeutic environment, Jiminy Glick is in the air.
Tempting little devil.
Yeah.
When you do something like that, it's a mistake. But it's something you gotta do. You gotta survive. I don't like vegetables.
I soap myself in lamp oil, and then I burn myself in front of the crowd.
It's gonna be appropriate.
Oh, it's appropriate.